Let me tell you about the worst I've ever looked in my life. It was the day before seeing my crush. I had been training consistently, eating well, my body fat was low. I should have woken up looking very sharp. Instead, I woke up looking like I was 3 months into a bulk. Puffy face, looking like a chud. The V taper I was building for months looked like it was completely gone overnight. And nothing really changed. I didn't go off on the rails on some weekend bender. I didn't binge eat the night before. I looked terrible and I had no idea why or how to fix it. And that was the moment I actually started paying attention to how bloating works. And not as some minor inconvenience, but as something that was genuinely affecting how I looked on the days that it mattered the most. And once I understood what was actually causing it, I realized I could control it and how I looked day to day. And that's what we're going to be covering in this video. It's not a 6-week plan. It's not a supplement stack. It's my exact protocol I use the day before I need to look lean. And it works every single time. But before that, we need to go over what even is bloating. A lot of guys will confuse bloating with fat, and they don't understand the problems because they're completely different and they require different solutions. Bloating is a combination of two things: water retention and gas buildup. Neither of these took weeks to accumulate, which means neither of these will take weeks to fix. Water retention happens when your body holds excess water in the tissues just beneath your skin. It's called subcutaneous water. When that happens, everything looks softer. Your abs are gone, your face gets puffy, and your waist looks wider than it actually is. You will gain sometimes 3 to 5 pounds of just water weight in a single day from eating, something salty, and you're wondering why your cut isn't working. Gas buildup is the other half. Your digestive system is constantly processing food, and depending on what you ate, the process produces gas as a byproduct. When that gas gets trapped, which happens with certain foods more so than others, your stomach is literally pushing outward, and that's why you look bloated. The reason why this matters so much is because fat loss will take weeks, but dropping water and gas takes only a few hours. If you understand that, then you understand that you can look different the next day. All right, so first, what you have to do is cut sodium. You need to lower your sodium and also cut it. It's the single biggest driver of water retention, and you're probably eating 2 or 3 times the recommended daily amount without even realizing it. And you can see here, you want to have your intake around 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, or even lower, ideally, for your heart health. And that's the thing is, the best foods have a lot of sodium in it. So you always need to be paying attention to what has sodium in it. And here's a couple examples. You can see here protein bars, sauces and dressing, teriyaki meal prep. That's insane. Like, that's literally your whole sodium intake for the day. Ideally, it's just one meal prep. And anything like frozen healthy meals, all of that is going to have a lot of, sodium. And even a lot of foods that don't necessarily taste salty are going to be loaded with a lot of sodium. Like muffins, for example, have high sodium, and it's not because there's salt in it or anything. It's because it's used as a preservative. What does sodium actually do? What it does basically is it pulls waters into your cell, and it tells your body to hold the water there. The more sodium you eat, the more water your body's going to retain. And the water that sits under your skin is what makes you look puffy. Okay, so then you're probably wondering, Cole, how do we fix this then? Very simple. It's just by watching what you eat and keeping it very simple and plain and kind of boring meal preps. The night before or the day before you need to look good, you need to be eating, chicken, white fish, eggs, and simple carbs, white rice, bananas, and cucumbers. Also, no soy sauce, okay? None of that, because it has a shit ton of sodium in it. Also, you don't want to be eating anything out of a packet, okay? Nothing with a sauce. You want to ideally avoid sauces because all that really is just pure sodium. There isn't really a lot of benefit to adding sauces from a bloating perspective because it's literally just going to make you inflamed, puffy, and ugly looking. If you guys want this full downloadable PDF, you can just go to the description and I'll send it to your email. On to the next thing. Number 2, you need to be drinking more water, and way more than you think. Now you're probably wondering, Cole, you just said water retention causes bloating. Shouldn't I drink less water? No, let me explain. Here's what's actually happening when your body is retaining water, okay? It's panicking. When you're chronically underhydrated, which you probably are, your body treats every single drop of water like it's a resource that it might not see again. And so it holds on to that. It stores the water in your skin, like right under it, and that's exactly what gives you that puffy look. When you flood your body with water consistently, the panic stops. Your body gets the signal that water is abundant and there's no need to hoard it, and it starts flushing all the excess out. And that's when your kidneys ramp up, you start urinating more, and all that retained water starts dropping, and you look leaner, your face will look sharper, your midsection will flatten out. All of that just from drinking enough water. What I personally do, the target is about a gallon throughout the day, okay? Not all at once, but what you want to do is you want to start drinking it from the moment you wake up and then just a couple hours before you go to bed. And you're going to be urinating constantly throughout the day. Or what you can do, and this is what I prefer, you can just eat your hydration, okay? Eat your water. If you don't want to be constantly peeing all the time, you need to be eating fruit, especially things with hydration, right? Eat your water. So blueberries, watermelon, right? All this stuff here. And additionally, fruit have additional benefits, which I'm going to go over right now. That additional benefit is potassium. Now, going back to this diagram here, potassium. So this is how it works inside of your body. The sodium pulls water into your cells, right? And it holds it there. But potassium actually does the opposite. It pushes the sodium out of your cells and it tells your kidneys to excrete it through your urine. And these two minerals here are basically in a constant tug of war. And whichever you have more of wins. You're probably eating twice the recommended sodium and half of the recommended potassium. You can see here daily intake for sodium versus your potassium intake, what you should be hitting. I don't think anyone's really hitting this consistently day to day unless you're actively managing it, which means your sodium is winning every single day and you're carrying that in your face, your midsection, under your eyes. All right, so your target is around 4,700 milligrams a day. And I know that sounds like a lot at first, but you can get a lot of potassium with certain foods. A medium banana will give you around 400 milligrams, okay? And an avocado will give you around 700 milligrams. A sweet potato will give you around 900 milligrams. And if you add spinach, that gives you around 800 milligrams. Also, very underrated, but coconut water gives you about 600 milligrams, which is one drink I'd actually recommend if you're trying to debloat fast because of the 600 milligrams per cup, which is insane. And it's also very low in sodium. Honestly, you can hit your daily potassium target through food alone without any supplements. And the night before you need to look lean, it's the best time to stack all of these foods. And I'm just going to tell you my combination real quick, my personal stack here. So number one is going to be a banana. Ideally 2 bananas throughout the day, okay? Not all at once, but space it out. And then also coconut water. Also, goated food right here, sweet potatoes. You need to be eating these, and it's a great carb source if I'm eating a bigger meal and I have a big workout that day. Instead of eating white rice, swap that for a sweet potato because that can get you 1,000 milligrams of potassium. And hot take here, but I think cutting sodium and increasing potassium, you don't even need to do cardio. Like, yeah, you should be doing it if you want to reduce bloating, like debloat max, but you don't need to necessarily do cardio if you're doing these two things mainly, because this is like 50% of it right here. All right, moving on. The next thing you need to be doing, even though I know I just said this, is walk after every meal. And I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to keep mentioning it until I see you guys actually start doing this. And you probably skip this and you don't go for a walk after you eat, but you need to be doing it because it's one of the highest ROI things you can do, not just for debloating, but for your overall aesthetic, your leanness, your health. Because when you eat and you just sit there like a little couch potato, right? This is you right here munching. Your digestive system is slowing down. The food moves through slower, right? There's gas buildup and your stomach starts to expand. And that post-meal stomach you always have, look, like this is me after a turkey dinner. You look like you're 3 months pregnant an hour after eating. And that's not the fat. That's literally just the gas buildup and your digestive system not being activated and moving as efficiently as it could be after a walk. And it doesn't have to be crazy long. It can be like 10 minutes and then you're done. And it does 2 things. First, what it does is it speeds up gastric emptying. how quickly food moves through your stomach, which means less time for gas to accumulate. And second, what it does is the physical movement helps move that trapped gas throughout your body and eventually out of it, which is why your stomach flattens after a walk. I started doing this after every meal, and it was one of the habits that genuinely changed how I looked day to day. You can see this was me walking, and look how lean I look here in comparison to this. This is not walking. And even on the days when I wasn't eating perfectly, the walks will keep your stomach from ballooning after the meals. If you work from home, just go walk around the block, right? It doesn't take long. It could be like 5-10 minutes, just a little stroll around the neighborhood. Also, if you eat, right, at work or whatever, you're at the office, what you can do is go get water or go to the bathroom, right? Just walk around. And then also, what you can do is after dinner at a restaurant, you can just suggest walking off the food, right? Just go for a quick little power walk, boom, and you're done. You can also just park farther away so you do a little bit more walking, and then also that way you walk off the meal and you don't have to suggest a walk. It's up to you. Again, if you guys want, what I'll do is I will send you the full protocol PDF directly to your guys' email. So just sign up for that and I'll send it to you. All right, number 5, what you need to be doing is cut all the gassy foods. All right, these are some examples of some gassy foods. This one's going to be a crazy hot take here. Ready? These are healthy foods for long-term health, but the night before you need to look lean. They are your worst enemy. All right, ready for this crazy hot take? Ready? Boom, boom, boom. Look at this. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, cauliflower, and cabbage. These are all foods that are high in a carbohydrate called raffinose, and the human body cannot fully digest it. And when it reaches your large intestine, then it ferments, right? And what happens is the bacteria ferments and it produces gas. And that gas is the byproduct of these foods, right? So that gas is what makes your stomach push outward and bloated, even though you're eating a healthy meal, quote unquote. This is why you can eat completely clean, right? And wake up looking worse than someone who ate pizza, because the clean dinner was full of broccoli and your stomach has been producing gas all night. And it's the exact same thing with protein powder, right? A lot of people don't know this, but the artificial sweeteners used in most powders, especially sorbitol and sucralose, are notorious for causing bloating and digestive issues, right? This is going to be you if you take a lot of protein powder in your day. Another thing too is sparkling water, okay? You're literally drinking carbonation, which is dissolved gas. And then you're acting confused, like, why am I bloated all the time? It's because the bubbles have nowhere else to go. All right, number 6, manage your sleep. When you don't sleep enough, your cortisol levels spike, and cortisol is the primary stress hormone, right? And one of its main functions is telling your body to hold on to the resources, which includes water. High cortisol means more water retention, more inflammation, which makes your face look puffy and your stomach bloated. I've had nights where I've literally eaten everything right, low sodium, gallon of water, walked after meals, ate clean, and I still woke up looking kind of soft and bloated because I only got 3 hours of sleep. And then I've had nights where I was eating and drinking stuff with high sodium and I woke up completely fine because I got 8 solid hours and my cortisol was low, and sleep is that powerful. And inflammation is also a big thing too, because sleep deprivation causes systematic inflammation, right? And the inflammation makes you look puffy. And that's very hard to fix in the short term because of the inflammation. Ideally, what you want to be doing is at least 7 to 9 hours before nighttime, right? And don't be like this guy, okay? Get off of your phone an hour before bedtime. You know, the blue light will disrupt your melatonin production and it affects your sleep quality. Even if you're technically in bed for 8 hours, better sleep quality means lower cortisol, which means less water retention, meaning you wake up looking sharper. All right, and finally, the morning of checklist. Everything up until this point has been about the day before and what you're eating and doing. And this is going to be for the day of and the morning. Number 1, do not be eating a big ass breakfast, okay? You do not want to be having a huge meal before you need to look good, all right? Your stomach is physically empty when you wake up, which is part of why you look best first thing in the morning. If you have a massive breakfast 2 hours before the pool, your digestive system is going to be active, right? Your stomach is going to be fuller and you're going to be looking softer than you did when you woke up. What I personally do is I like to stay fasted, and I have a 4-hour window in between each meal. And of course, I have a little short walk after. And if you do want to have food, right, you got to be eating light so you don't end up looking like fat throg here. All right. Something small, right? So you don't want to spike digestion. So eggs, bananas, specifically because they have high potassium, all of that is going to be really good for you. And also black coffee. Caffeine is a mild diuretic, meaning it causes your body to excrete more water. And black coffee in the morning will help push all the water retention, and it'll also suppress your appetite if you're trying to eat light in the hours before. Caffeine is my personal favorite. It's insane for suppressing your appetite, which is also going to be good if you're trying to lose weight and debloat, right? And finally, again, lastly, you want to be walking. A short little walk in the morning is going to be great because it's going to accelerate that lean look. Even just 20 minutes of a little bit of cardio walking around in the morning gets digestion moving, and it burns off any overnight gas buildup, which makes you look more defined. Now, if you want to learn how to get lean and build a V-taper, check out this video here. Again, if you guys want, the full PDF is down in the description. Just click that link. I'll send it directly to you.